Reading about her experiences can give you some cool ideas for your own prayer time. It's like getting advice from a super wise friend. This reading will give you some extra tools for your prayer challenge. Now, let's get some idea of the daily reading plan for the week. Reading about her experiences can give you some cool ideas for your own prayer time. It's like getting advice from a super wise friend. This reading will give you some extra tools for your prayer challenge. Now, let's get some idea of the daily reading plan for the week. 7-day reading plan for Week 5. Day 1, the soul enters the house of prayer. Passage 1, opening of the treatise. Day 2, perseverance, the key to all virtue. Passage 2, perseverance in prayer. Day 3, vocal and mental prayer together. Passage 3, vocal to mental prayer. Day 4, when God visits during prayer. Passage 4, God's visitation. Day 5, continual prayer, a holy will. Passage 5, holy desire. Day 6, reread the passage that most challenged you. Your choice. Day 7, spend 15 minutes in silent listening prayer. Weekly challenge. Week 5 reading passages. The Dialogue of St. Catherine of Siena. Treatise on Prayer. Early chapters, from vocal to mental prayer. Source: The Dialogue of St. Catherine of Siena, translated by Algar Thorold, public domain. Available at CCEL. Introduction to this week's reading. Week 5 opens the longest and richest section of the dialogue, the Treatise on Prayer. Here, God teaches Catherine everything about prayer: what it is, how it works, why it sometimes feels dry, and how to move from simply saying prayers to truly praying. The central insight is both simple and revolutionary. Prayer is a conversation, not a performance. God is not impressed by the number of words we say. He is moved by the love and desire behind them. As you read this week, pay attention to how God describes prayer as something the whole person does: mind, heart, will, and body, not just the lips. Passage 1. The opening of the Treatise on Prayer. When the soul has passed through the doctrine of Christ crucified, with true love of virtue and hatred of vice, and has arrived at the house of self-knowledge and entered therein, she remains, with her door barred, in watching and constant prayer, separated entirely from the consolations of the world. Why does she thus shut herself in? She does so from fear, knowing her own imperfections, and also from the desire, which she has, of arriving at pure and generous love. The Dialogue, Treatise on Prayer. What God is saying here: the soul who has grown in self-knowledge and love of Christ naturally turns to prayer, not as a duty, but as a refuge. She shuts herself in, not out of fear of the world, but out of a deep desire for God. This is the beginning of the contemplative life, not a monastery, but an interior disposition of the heart that seeks God above all things. Reflection prompt. What does your house of self-knowledge look like? Is there a time and place in your day where you genuinely shut out the noise of the world and turn toward God? Passage 2. How prayer is made. Perseverance is the key. Know, dearest daughter, how by humble, continual, and faithful prayer, the soul acquires, with time and perseverance, every virtue. Wherefore should she persevere and never abandon prayer, either through the illusion of the devil or her own fragility. The devil often places himself upon the tongues of creatures, causing them to chatter nonsensically, with the purpose of preventing the prayer of the soul. The Dialogue, Treatise on Prayer. What God is saying here: prayer is not a talent, it is a practice. Every virtue the soul needs can be acquired through humble, persevering prayer. God is remarkably practical here. He warns Catherine that the devil will use distractions, discouragement, and the voices of others to pull the soul away from prayer. The antidote is simply to keep showing up. Reflection prompt. What is your biggest distraction during prayer? Is it your phone, your wandering mind, the feeling that nothing is happening? How can you respond to that distraction with perseverance rather than giving up? Passage 3. Vocal prayer and mental prayer. But do not think that the soul receives such ardor and nourishment from prayer if she pray only vocally, as do many souls whose prayers are rather words than love. She should not say her vocal prayers without joining them to mental prayer. That is to say, that while she is reciting, she should endeavor to elevate her mind in my love, with the consideration of her own defects and of the blood of my only begotten Son. The Dialogue, Treatise on Prayer. What God is saying here, God does not tell Catherine to abandon vocal prayer, the rosary, the liturgy of the hours, the Our Father. He tells her to deepen it. Vocal prayer said without the heart engaged is just words, but vocal prayer offered with love and attention becomes a doorway into mental prayer, the prayer of the heart. The goal is not to choose one over the other, but to let the words carry the heart upward toward God. Reflection prompt. Think of a prayer you say regularly, the Our Father, a Hail Mary, a morning offering. What would it feel like to say it slowly, one phrase at a time, letting each phrase become a genuine conversation with God?
Passage 4. When God visits the soul during prayer. The moment she feels her mind disposed by my visitation, in the many ways I have told you, she should abandon vocal prayer. Then, my visitation past, if there be time, she can resume the vocal prayers which she had resolved to say. The Dialogue, Treatise on Prayer. What God is saying here. This is one of the most practically liberating passages in the entire treatise on prayer. God is saying, when you feel me drawing near during prayer, when a word strikes you, when a sudden peace descends, when a truth becomes clear, stop. Put down your prayer book. Be still. Let me speak. The tale of prayers can wait. The visitation of God cannot be scheduled or repeated on demand. Reflection prompt. Have you ever been in the middle of a prayer or a mass reading and felt something land in your heart? A word, an image, a sudden sense of being known? What did you do with that moment? Passage 5. Continual prayer. A holy will. A holy desire is a continual prayer. Vocal prayer will be made at the appointed time by the soul who remains firm in a habitual holy will. Whatever he may contribute, by words or deeds, towards the salvation of his neighbor, is virtually a prayer. What God is saying here, Catherine's vision of prayer is breathtakingly wide. Prayer is not only what happens on your knees at a set time. Every act done with a holy will, every word of encouragement, every act of service, every moment of patient endurance is a form of prayer. This is what St. Paul meant when he wrote, "Pray without ceasing," 1 Thessalonians 5:17. The soul whose will is aligned with God's will is praying in everything she does. Reflection prompt. What would it mean for your ordinary day, your work, your conversations, your meals, to become a form of continual prayer? What would need to change?